This is a Triumph Trident 660 and it's had an absolute catastrophic crash at the front. This is the first time I've ever seen the whole wheel is detached from the hub. It's completely battered. You can see there that wheel is absolutely mangled. Forks are totally bent and the frame is snapped. So this bike has had an absolute wallop. I don't know what happened to the guy who drove it. If it was you, leave it in the comments. It's a nice bike. It's unfortunate really that it's had this happen to it because it's almost brand new. It's a 2021. It's got the clocks there. I'll turn it on in a minute, and you know the headlight looks good. That's what's helping me out. But yeah, it's a real shame. It's had a massive smack at the front there. Wheel is destroyed, forks destroyed, radiator's dead, frame is bent and cracked, so that's no good. The clocks fire right up. I've got the Triumph back home now and I've had a closer look at it and it is completely crushed. The front is completely bent. All of the front areas are just mangled, so the forks have come all the way back into the engine. The engine has actually snapped out of the frame, so there are places where the frame is just completely broken. But before I show you those bits, I'm just going to demonstrate the bike does actually start. Actually no, it won't start right now, but if you just come a bit closer in with the camera, you can see the clock's turned on. This bike's done 2,300 miles from new. This tank is all busted up, so that will be going in the bin, but this plastic part I'll keep. And I want to show actually the frame, so I'll just remove this cover. Down here at the front you can see that this frame is completely cracked on this side, so it's moved all the way back, and here you can see that the frame is completely bent there, and underneath here this petrol tank is bent as well. Coming around here you can see that it's bent there, and then round this side is again completely snapped there. So this frame is no good. So whatever happens, somebody might rebuild this bike with this frame, but that's not me. I don't rebuild stuff that could be a safety issue. So I'm going to have to take this bike apart, and then I will use those parts for other projects, or I might try and rebuild the bike. This is what I mentioned earlier, where the frame is completely snapped and this engine has moved all the way down. The exhausts are dented in there and this front wheel is completely mangled. Front forks are bent, I'm sure, but there are some really good parts. So these clocks are £850 new. The headlight is probably about 600 quid, and used on eBay these are about 500. So there's money just in those two. Then the lock set is probably another 500 quid. So there's a lot of value in this bike, even though it's completely crushed. So I'm going to see what I can do to film me taking this guy apart. So I'm making a start at the back. I'm just going to start pulling off parts, and it will be quite hard to film. You can see there that part has easily just come off, and then I can throw it in my box here and then just carry on. So it'll be hard to film all, but I'll do what I can. Just taking off the clock, which is one of the most expensive parts on this, and it's just 3 bolts and then a clamp under there, and there it is. I'll put that straight into a jiffy bag and keep it nice and safe. I've got this headlight off and it's a very nice clean unit. I love the little Triumph logo in the middle of it. No scratches on this, really nice and clean. So I will put this away very carefully and keep this one for a future project. It's a cool piece, and it just bolts on with one fixing there at the bottom, so one bolt through and it holds it onto the whole bike. There I go. I'm just filling up this box with parts and I will store those away, and I'll sell a few and probably keep most of them for another day. We're just working our way through the midsection of the bike, so undoing wires and just pulling stuff apart, doing it in a careful way so that we don't damage anything. That's where the clocks used to be, and we'll just keep stripping down all this middle section. Working the way along the back of this bike, all of these electrics take ages to disconnect. Then there's the engine and all these bits, and I need to disconnect the brakes and just work my way all the way through this bike, disconnecting these pieces. There's the lock set, that's worth a lot of money. Radiator is busted, probably popped, but definitely not usable. There's the frame again. Real shame, this bike was brand new, but with this damage it can't be fixed. So we're just going to continue here and finish or carry on stripping this bike. It's time to remove these forks, and it is quite tricky because the wheel is so bent up. I think the only way to do it is to sort of leave the front wheel where it is, and then I'm going to try and lift this whole frame up out the way. So we're going to just kind of see how this goes. If I pull, just mind your hands, if I just pull the front wheel while leaving the bike there, it will bend these yokes open a bit. Should make it a bit easier just to pull it up and out of the way. I don't think that's going to work. Okay, I'm going to get my angle grinder involved. So here we're just opening up these yokes with a screwdriver, which seems to have loosened things off a bit. The bike just fell down. These yokes are clearly knackered. They're never going to get used again. So if we break them or cut them open, that's fine. So now I'll put the camera back on the stand here, and we'll just see if we can lift the bike off the forks. One sec. Do it on the stand. Stand is here. Yeah. Lift like this and just balance. Just hold there. And then I can just remove all of this. So again, I'm just going to pull this and see if that will help. If not, looks like it will go. Yeah, lovely, that'll do. And on these kind of forks, normally you can just pull off this side. So there you go, that fork is loose, and then this side won't come off, but I'll be able to unscrew it maybe a bit later. If not, this whole thing will go to the scrap yard as it is, a scrap metal, so I'm not going to try and save any of that stuff. So I'll just show what we've got here. A bike that's being stripped, and I'll put the camera down to help my friend out. This one we can leave, so just come back, put the bike down, and then lift this way a bit. Yeah, and now stand off when we lift. Stand off, yeah, or just go forward. Oh, sorry, go down. Sorry, down. Okay, good. There's the bike. It's not very glamorous. Front wheel is off, and this bike is on its way to the dustbin. Things were only going to end one way for this bike. It's nearly at its final resting place. I'm just doing the last few bits to do the frame from the engine. So it's all a bit of a mess, but I have drained all the fluids and stuff, so it's not there's no risk of any pollution and stuff. So the engine's nearly out. I just have to press on and finish up, which I'll do right now. This is the front forks and, well, what's left of the front wheel. So you can see that used to be the centre of the wheel, and it completely exploded in the accident, and this is the rim. This is, I think, comfortably the worst wheel I've ever seen on a motorbike, ever, condition wise. Clearly it just had a spectacular smack here at the front, but like I'm almost tempted to keep this one as a trophy of how badly things can go wrong. I mean, to think that was a motorbike wheel is just something else. So there's that. I might keep that, or if you want it for a, I don't know, a giveaway or something, let me know. Likewise with this, all of this stuff I'm not going to attempt to reuse. It's going straight to the scrapyard. I've got myself a nice low mileage engine here, so this is really good. This is a lot of the money that's in this bike. Cheapest one on eBay right now is £1,500, and that's about what I paid for the bike, so not bad. You can see it has got a broken engine mounting there, but I think you could probably live with that because there's another 6 mounting points on this bike. The rest of them, there's one, there's some all around the back there, so they're all good. So that's a nice tidy engine. I'll keep this one as is, and I'll either sell it or probably I'll keep this one to put into another bike. So yeah, that's the engine. Nice piece of change sitting there. So the Triumph Trident 660 has now been completely taken apart, and I got a ton of really good parts off of it. So I'll just show you some of them. So here's a rear brake caliper, nice and tidy, ready to sell. And there's a front brake caliper, and all of these parts are just nice and clean. I'll actually show you along the row, so just to pick out a few of the better parts. So all of these parts I've kind of put a label on, so that, and you can just see there's so much there, and considering some of these parts sell for a fair amount of money, that's really good. This is a really cheap one, so you can pick up one of these on eBay for about £6 or £7, but that is the bread and butter when you're selling these parts like this. Like this is about a tenner, so that's the bread and butter of selling parts. You've got to make money on the small parts. Like this is about 12 quid, so there's those. But then these front calipers, they're about £200 to repair. This one's about £85. Rear brake lever, maybe £40. Airbox probably will never sell. Get whatever price I can for that, but maybe put it out there for 30 quid. This is obviously a front part. This is the starter switch. There's one for sale on eBay right now for £160, so that's pretty cool. These are cheap, obviously very rare that one of these would break on a brand new bike, so you can buy these for about 30 quid and you're lucky if it will sell. These always sell, they're good, they're about 30-40 quid. Rear indicators, I think these would sell well. These are quite expensive, they're about £50 each brand new, so I would expect that to sell really well. Rear shock, if it sells, about 100 quid. Wiring loom, again there's loads advertised for about 150 quid. Personally I sell mine as cheap as I need to get them out of the way. So there's quite a lot of cash in that pile of parts there. And then down here, this is the really big money. So this is about £500. You can buy them used, but you won't get all the stuff with it. So it's got the casing, it's got the frame, it's got all the bits inside. So I'll sell that for £500. This clock is £850 brand new from Triumph. There are some for sale on eBay for about 300, 400, but for me, I want 500 quid for this. I don't care. That's something I don't mind keeping. And this whole lock set, this is the really big money. So you've got the key, the lock set, and I've got the tank lock somewhere else, but then there's the rear seat lock. And I'll keep all of that together as one big kit, all of this stuff, because you've got the ECU. This is the immobiliser. And these two, that's £1,400 brand new, and that's £900 brand new from Triumph. This, again, I think this is coded to these parts. So this is a really valuable set of parts right here. And so I am going to keep some, sell some, and see how I do with these. Obviously I can't give you a live update as to what I've sold and stuff because it's all here, but this stuff should all sell well. And I've got a nice wheel and tyre, so I'm going to keep this. I've actually got another Triumph 2022 which I'll show in a future video. Here it is, so that's coming up really soon. If I just turn the lights on, this is a smashed up Triumph Tiger Sport 660 which I'm going to be rebuilding in a future video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that wheel and tyre. I will keep the chain sprockets and stuff and service parts. So swing arm, they're on eBay for about 60 quid. I will probably just scrap this, but I might try and sell it for like 30 quid and just see if it sells. If it doesn't sell quickly, it's gone. This is the exhaust. I don't know what to do with this because it's really dented in on one of these pipes, so I'll have to assume it's no good, but they're about 300 quid on eBay, so I might just give it a go on eBay. If it doesn't sell, then I'll scrap it, but might be worth trying. Let me know in the comments if you think that would sell. This petrol tank is completely full up. It's full of petrol. I haven't got any spare petrol cans right now, so I'm going to leave it as is, but that's, I don't know, 20 quid's worth of petrol that I didn't have before, so that's pretty nice. This bit's a bit broken, but this is part of the lock set, so that's good. So, good to see you in this video. You can see I've got another Triumph behind me. This is a street triple, so that may be in a future video. But it's been a cool day, nice and sunny day. I've got a week off actually, so I'm just smashing a bit of work in my garden. I'm really happy with the Trident, and I've got my engine there. That's ready for another day, another story. And I'm gonna go ahead and sell a load of these parts on eBay, keep a few. I'll probably keep all the really expensive ones for a build in the future and sell off a lot of the stuff that's easier to find. So thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit subscribe, hit like. See you again. I've been very busy, so not many videos recently, but do stay in touch for many more coming soon. See ya.